While playing Fallout 4, you may have come across this dead skeleton in the basement of the castle. This is actually an Easter egg, referencing Edgar Allan Poe's short story, The Cask of Amontillado. In this story, the main character, Montresor, invites a man by the name of Fortunato into his dungeons to let him taste some of his newly acquired Amontillado, which is a fine wine. However, after descending into the dungeons, Fortunato realizes too late that he has been deceived, and before Fortunato even realizes what happened, Montresor chains him to the wall in the niche. Then, using stone and mortar, he built up a wall, brick by brick, entombing Fortunato inside the niche where he was trapped. Whew, that was dark. Anyway, back to Fallout. If you're still not convinced that this skeleton is in fact a reference to Edgar Allan Poe's The Cask of Amontillado, you need only look around the room and you will find bottles of Amontillado, an obvious reference to Allan Poe's short story. And if you examine the bottle more closely, you'll see that it says Montresor, which is obviously the name of the main character in Poe's short story, the one who entombs Fortunato. I guess Fortunato wasn't all that fortunate. Also below that on the bottle it says bottled by P. Edgar, which obviously is a reference to Edgar Allan Poe. Now you might be thinking, okay Smike, thanks, that was a neat little fact. But wait, I'm not done. There's more. You see, Edgar Allan Poe was actually stationed at this very castle. He enlisted in 1827 and was stationed at Fort Independence, the same exact fort where you find the skeleton in Fallout 4. And while there, Poe found out about the death of Lieutenant Robert Massie. Lieutenant Massie was killed in a duel by another lieutenant, Gustavus Drane. This duel happened because of, I kid you not, a card game dispute. And according to local legend, after Robert Massie was killed by Drane, the soldiers at the fort were so angry that in revenge, they brought Drane into a vault in the castle dungeons, chained him up, and sealed him behind a wall, leaving him to die. It is believed by some that hearing of this local legend is what gave Poe the inspiration to write The Cask of Amontillado many years later. But you may be wondering, is this urban legend true? Well, I actually checked the historical register of the United States Army. It turns out Robert Massie was indeed killed in a duel on Christmas Day 1817, but that whole part with soldiers taking Drane and sealing him up alive behind the wall may not have been true. He ended up dying almost 30 years after the duel took place, not to mention that during that time he was promoted and transferred many times. So yeah, other than the duel itself, there's no evidence that this urban legend is actually true. I'm gonna leave links to the US military records that I found down below so you guys can check them out. But despite the fact that this urban legend probably isn't true, many people still believe that this was the inspiration behind Poe's The Cask of Amontillado, and that is why there's a skeleton behind the wall in Fallout 4.